A lot of you are probably wondering, what's going on? What is this format? Where have you been for the last few months? Well, I've been busy, okay? Very busy. And if this looks familiar, this format looks familiar, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No one's done it ever in their life. So a lot of you probably think, what is this new format then? Okay, fine. I borrowed it from someone else. And by borrowed, I mean I thought it was a great idea and I like it. And people think, why don't you just show your face on the camera? We already know what you look like. Well, face cameras are not my cup of tea, okay? This is. This joke took 10 minutes to record. Fine, so what are we actually doing here, okay? Let's skip to it. A microscope. I wanted to use this and make videos with it somehow. By the way, my hands are disgusting. I'm a working boy, my bad. That's just how I am. We are going to be using this, and I'm gonna be cutting to footage, different footage right now, and it's footage taken on this thing, okay? I mentioned it in the podcast before. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna mention it again because honestly, it's been a year since I mentioned it, so it's been way too long. What are we going to be putting under the microscope? All kinds of crap. Okay, like this guy. I got a lot of funny looks when I was buying him at McDonald's. I didn't expect it to fall off so easily. And if you're wondering what this is actually a tiny canvas that you can use to paint on. Bit of an example right here. This is me trying to do line work, but I'm real shit at it. So whatever. Enough yapping. Let's get into it. Oh my god, I cannot stand how dirty the audio sounds on the phone recording. Look, I'm gonna level with you. I could not for the life of me get this microphone to connect to my phone. It's just not built for that. So this is gonna be the cleanest audio. It's gonna be so clean it's gonna sound weird. Anyway, here I'm zooming in on the screw. I know I mentioned it later, but you could see the individual specks of dirt. This is a tech deck, so those screws are incredibly tiny. Honestly, I'm zooming out a bit. The thing about this microscope, right, is it is really good. But if you want to go into macro levels, incredibly tiny, it's just not that good. This one, you could see the individual strands of hair. That's actually not hair. Those are microplastics. I know it's a hot topic right now, but look at it. Isn't that interesting? I found that interesting. You could actually see the grit of the sandpaper that covers the top, along with the sand that's actually inside of it. This tech deck has been well used, well worn, and quite frankly, it's been fun using it. I love this tech deck. It's actually my brother's, but I love it too. It's honestly crazy what it looks like under the microscope. I had to move a bunch afterwards. Anyway, that was this. I don't know if you noticed, but I zoomed in on the screw there as much as I could. Try to get more detail, but you know, I'm doing what I can. This one here we zoomed out a bit with the microscope. And we're zooming in slowly. The thing is, I did want to get more detail on this recording more than anything, because this one is very minute. If you look at the tiny, tiny specks right there, just around it, those little crevices that are slightly cleaner than the top part being dirty, it almost looks like a napkin, which is not good. I mean, this is a very low quality canvas, I'll admit that. I did buy these cheap. These were $1 for 6, so it's not bad. What I'm zooming in on here is another bit of microplastic right there, which could also be a fiber of clothing. This one it's not a big deal, you know. If it's a microplastic on a piece of canvas, it's not like I'm going to eat it or anything, you know what I mean? But you do got to be careful with those things. I do find it interesting how just the amount of specks on the thing, right? The amount of tiny little specks that you can't see with the naked eye, but you zoom in with a microscope and it's so clean. Honestly, I'm just going to let it speak for itself. That one, I'll admit, was much harder to do, despite the fact that it was a smooth surface. You could see the little rips and everything. I'll put in commentary later. I'm pretty sure I already fucked up by doing that. Anyway, let's get this out of the way. And the star of the show, I guess. Let's do the wig first. Why not? Okay, tell you what. I'll cut to random parts of him, and you try to guess where it's at, where everything is at. This last part I do want to mention, you could see this with your naked eye. It's just I wanted to go into more further detail with the microscope. I wanted to go a little closer into the bottom, but it's also kind of a bit of a joke. I don't mention what part of the toy this is. So now we know for sure everything on this table or box, whatever, was, under the microscope. This poor guy's face is interesting. By the way, I want you to try to guess where everything was zoomed in. That is never not going to be funny to me. Well, that's it for that type of video. I guess I could do one more, but I'm not going to show you or tell you what it is. You try to figure it out.